Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Nemoxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting for Team 1 in the Northwest and ending with Team 2 in the Southeast, also known as the Blue Team versus the Red Team. Joining up for Team 1 Southern player, we have in Royal Blue, Hannibal. He is an Aeon for this match as a 1494 rated. To the Northeast, we have in Amethyst Purple Zawirazek as a Seraphim. He is a 1730 rated player. And last place for Team 1 in the Northwestern corner in Stitch Blue is the Cybran of Zoom. He is a 1699 rated. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have a Cybran, a Seraphim, and an Aeon. No UEF for Team 1. Starting up with Team 2's Northern player, we have in Chevy Crimson the Cybran of Star Commander. We'll see if he is a star. He is a 1449 rated player again as a Cybran. In the middle here for Team 2 in Orange Color Orange, it is I can never pronounce his name. I've cast it in before. Kalink, K for short. He is a Cybran. He is a 1915 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. Last place for Team 2 in Ruby Red in the Southeast is Colorex PL. I think I said his name right. Gonna say probably Color for short. He is a UEF, the one and only of the game at 1682 rated. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 Cybrans, 1 UEF, no Aeon, no Seraphim for Team 2. And for these 6 players out of the map, let's take a look at the reclaim situation. Currently sitting at 43,000 mass in reclaim, and they are a decent amount of clumps. Actually, a decent amount of them pretty big, a 6,000, 6,000, another 5,000 in the middle, and then a 3,000 in the middle as well. So lots of reclaim to grab, as well as a decent amount of mexes. Most of them are in the back line, but there is at least a quad mex on the front line for Team 1's Wirezack to grab. He has a 5-star mex, a 5-star mex, and another 5-star mex position, which makes me think you could probably at least stick 2, if not 3 more players on each team on this map. Granted, besides that, there's really not a lot of extra mexes to go around. Yeah, there's some dotted over in the east and the west, but really the bulk of the income from Team 1 and Team 2 are going to come from those 5-star mex positions and, of course, the quad mex on the front line. We do see Star Commander heading to the middle of the map, of course, to get that reclaim, as well as, of course, trying to stop their opponents from doing the same. We see 2 commanders for Team 2 on this western side. It's K and Colorex. And we do see that Hannibal is over here. Team 1's Spy6 in the middle next to the pond, and then Zoom is going to the east. So really not a lot of contention going on, at least in the northeastern corner. Southwestern corner, we are starting to see those front lines start to be poked and prodded and tried to be run by. We do see a couple of units trying to get past those units that they did actually get past, but there's more inbound. So I don't think they're going to get super far. We also see Engineer inbound for a nice little Team 1 PD. And a Bomber already over top. And it's actually going to grab that Mantis as well, unfortunately. Those forces do get stopped. The closest come-on-come action we will see so far is Star Commander versus Wirezack. Wirezack's just going to post up and reclaim. We do see Star Commander going for individual clumps, just trying to just ping as much as possible for that comm to just scoop, scoop, scoop. We do see Team 1's Colorex over here on the nice little pond here. Nice little clump of reclaim to grab as well. First gun upgrade has been started for Hannibal on that western side. He's going for the speed. He'll probably go for range next. And northeastern corner run by opportunity is on the cards here, and it's actually gotten pretty close to the main base for Star. Team 1 Mex is being taken offline. There's also a nice little Sky Slammer in there, so there's some AA to at least cover them for a little bit. Nice little fire base in the northeastern corner. Again, nothing too crazy. Of course, there is that clump of reclaim to grab, which is one of the reasons why they're sitting there for now. But that eastern flank looking very porous for Team 2. Team 2 definitely needs to at least shore up defenses, at least on that side of the map. But attacks in the middle for Team 2's K, going after the spam facilities for Wirezack. Wirezack put his Team 1 PD behind the facility, so these act as bullet sponges, allowing that PD to be at least a little bit more protected and those forces to be denied their attacks range. Started here for Hannibal to finish with that speed already. We do see that Colorex is over here. Looks like he's trying to really go to that southwestern corner and then push northward Looks like they're trying to just heavily push back Team 1's Hannibal and essentially weaken that western front. It could be a situation where the game switches from a southeast versus northwest to a more north v south approach. We kind of are starting to see that, especially on this eastern side. But with more T2 units online now for Star, that should be more back to that more diagonal line situation. Gun started versus Wiresec. He has speed and range on that upgrade. We do see that Star Command is more shifting to intercept zoom. So it looks like it's going to be a 1v1, 1v1, and 1v1. It was looking like a 2v1 scenario early, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case now. Large Team 1 force in the southwest for Hannibal with the upgrade, and it's going to put Calorex definitely on the back for a little bit. It's going to start to be a little bit outranged by those Aurora, and we'll probably have to fall back at some point. Granted, again, they are tinfoil, so you can two-shot them pretty easily, but unfortunately, a large amount of them is not going to be healthy for that comm. Again, 1,000 of anything, kill anything, especially when you have a range advantage on board. T2 starting to hit for K is going to get denied by the gun comm of Wiresec. Very unfortunate. He's about half done with that. That's mass and energy he will not get back. Units moving in to assist. It will pretty much derail that attack from Wiresec. And there's still a decent amount of reclaim to grab on the map. We started with about 43,000, and now we're at 21,000. So about half of it's been scooped up, of course. Units have died and left their wrecks on the field before, but in general, at least the total amount. Calorex has fallen into the yellow. He does have 1-star veterancy, but I think he's going to be knocked out of the combat, at least for a little bit. We are seeing some reinforcements at least try to shore up defenses on this western side for K, but he's being forced back again in the middle. Eastern side, again, looking very, very porous. Looking very, very open for some bleeding on that eastern side. A couple of hoplites inbound. Granted, they have range. The only unfortunate thing is their weapon systems are more indirect. They're more kind of a weird indirect kind of scenario. They do fire, of course, at the units because their range isn't super long. It's more of a lob than anything else. It's kind of like a, how would I describe it? It's not a missile launcher, but it is a missile launcher, but it's not the same situation as a missile launcher. But it's just kind of how the way the thing goes. T2 PD being deployed to secure the reclaim, as well as keeping Team 1 front line moving forwards. Wiresec being heavily focused down by the units in the comm of K. It's not a KX. Calorex is for K in the south. Actually, Calorex not looking super hot. I'm going to jump to him very quickly. He's surrounded by a decent amount of Team 1 units, and there he goes. He gets booped to death and is not able to get out of danger. So Team 1 will score the first kill of the game. And that comm just cannot hit that unit. There's a little bit of a lip there. And that nice little Zooey is hiding. Team 2 Corsairs over the top. Try to snipe K's commander. So I keep saying KX's commander. And Corsairs continue to rain their fighter bombers overhead. They're very similar to those T2 hoplites, where they essentially throw their missiles at their opponent. And more than launch them, I guess would be a better way to put it. More of a throw than a launch. Anyway, but now we see some blazes moving in from Hannibal to assist, and now X does have dual base online. That means more eco, but less APM, and that's 33% APM now lost for Team 2. That's going to put Team 1 heavily in the driver's seat, at least in terms of the more responsiveness. We do see some T3 Loyalists online. They do have EMP weapons on board, which can, of course, EMP units and stop them from firing. But these units are continuing to just tear a hole through Team 2's western flank. And this is where all of that eco is. Lots of these are already at T2. You can see them being just ripped apart bit by bit, not letting Team 2 get any sort of respite, even after a kill has been claimed by Team 1. Bombers over top to assist Star Commander's commander. We do see those hoplites moving into assist as well. We'll give them some veterancy to upgrade that commander. Team 1 has claimed the middle pond. Granted, again, there is a little bit of water on the edges of the map, but I don't really think there'll be that much in terms of action we'll see in the middle. Maybe cruisers, maybe he is Seraphim. I mean, that would be a nice way to lock down some AA in the middle of the map, but I just don't. Is it worth it, though? Yeah, maybe this base is in range, but I don't know if it's going to be worth it or not, if it's going to be a lot of investment, because you have to get the T2 Navy tech, and then you got to protect it, and you got to all that stuff. Is it going to be worth it is the main focus of that. Nano started here for X. He already has stealth and gun on board. eastern side here, Star Commander has thrown those units back for Zoom. Zoom's been focused on air. He has T3 air online. He has the northern side of the map under his control. Lots of mexes online for him. Of course, he's scaling that air facility quite nicely, and he's just going to put his comm in the water. Don't blame him. Does not want to get sniped by any means. Loyalists moving in to deal with this group of forces here. Lots of blazes and a couple of asylums to protect said blazes. But look at this PD group we're seeing from Team 1. T1 PD and T2 PD. And now we see some shields being deployed. That's a very far forward fire base here for Zwarzek. He's making sure that Team 2 knows he's in the middle of the map and he is not going anywhere. So a decent chunk of mexes were taken up by those blazes early on, and of course these mexes are still being denied now. Lots of more reclaim to scoop up for Team 2 and Team 1. Lots and lots of it. 26,000. We're not even at 15 minutes. I guess we're at 15 minutes now. Reclaim situation, both of them. You know, they're at 25 and Team 1's at 37, so definitely got a heftier chunk of the mass reclaim. And more and more and more Ilshis online for Zwarzek. Those nasty little things running around the map. Looks like they're walking backwards. In the east, Hoplite still trying to keep Team 1 Zoom at bay. Again, he's more focused on the air more than land. He does have a T3 land facility online, but again, this is kind of more on autopilot than anything else. So he's really keeping Star Commander kind of just busy with that section of the map. Couple of comms stacking up here between Zwarzek and Hannibal. Granted, not necessarily a bad idea, but sometimes, you know, if you get a nuke in there, not a good idea to stand next to one another when those things go off. Loyalists running amok over here, but they're getting denied by those blazes. And of course, the EMP death weapons on board. Those Loyalists are kind of nice, but they don't last super long. And now this western front is looking pretty peckish in terms of those defenses. There is a brick in there, but again, 1,000 of anything will kill anything, and Team 1 has the numbers. Granted, inferior T2 tech, but it can make the difference, of course. We do see Zwarzek trying to push in against those bricks. Speaking of which, for Team 2's X, and of course he has Nano and Gun. Maybe we'll see Advanced Nano and Advanced Regen, the tanky regen nonsense commander of the Seraphim class. We'll see if he ends up going that strategy, but just time will tell. Ilshi's running around, and there's not a lot of anything over here for Team 2 Star Commander. This main base is very close to being just wiped off the face of this planet. Whatever the name of this planet. Moon. I wouldn't say moon, but it could be a moon. Who knows? This some sort of celestial body in the universe. And here come those Ilshis. Of course, there are a couple of bricks in here, which will help the defenses out quite nicely. And the Ilshis are actually focusing the bricks, not any of the structures. So, yes, a couple of bricks will be wiped out, but at a minimum, you know, the T3 pigeons, the T2 pigeons. Now we see the focus going down. That T2 pigeon will get killed, but doesn't kill off too much and just damages those bricks. So nothing devastating for Star Commander, but again, he has to now watch out for that western front. We do see Revenge is on the cards here for X, moving to the north to try to prevent the more incursion of Ilshis. But on the western side here, he is just getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And now we see spam facilities outside of the bubble, meaning again they're being acted like bullet sponges. Lovely strategy here. Again, the focus is keeping the shield online and keeping units out of getting, again, underneath the shielding. Lovely play by Zwarzek of using his factories as, again, a shield more than just a, well, factory. A couple of missile launchers not having a fun day in the sun over there. And T2 Air is also online for Zwarzek, so he has the ability to build those Nathas to help assist with any sort of raiding operations. We do see some units, speaking of raiding, is occurring in the northeast. All of these forces for Zoom trying to catch up to a couple of Hoplites. Hoplites actually shifting southward. I don't think they'll get that much in. There's also been some more mexes taken offline over here to the northwest. Don't know what happened there. Looks like there's some Oilers wrecks having some fun over there. So a couple of mexes taken offline for Team 1, but nothing crazy. But we do see, actually, speaking of mexes being taken offline, Zwarzek getting on a transport to catch up to the bricks. Lovely strategy here. Instead of trying to chase him down with his comm, which he knows he never will, we see all this APM from X trying to get away from Zwarzek. And this is just soaking up APM every single time Zwarzek gets on the transport, moves in, positions his comm. I don't think he'll have to do that really much anymore. Zoom has a couple of bricks. There are T2 mexes being taken offline still, but that'll probably be mostly the end of that at this point. But there has been some damage to Team 1's eco. Team 1 is still in the lead, though, overall, but it is hurting Team 1's more growth projections with those mexes being taken offline. And that last lonely brick will take out one more T2 mex, and that might just be the end of it. In the south, we see a couple of units, again, doing the exact same thing, but they're not going to get that much distance out of it. Those Medusa aren't going to get super far, and there's a brick chasing a brick, running into bricks. And just got bricked to death, so not a fun time over there. In the south, more and more T3 units stacking up to again defend. There's a lot of units stacking up as well for Hannibal. He's going for a shield. Maybe he'll go for advanced range. Maybe he'll go for a heavy shield. I mean, I would assume at least the advanced range if he's going to use this comm more offensively. It is 21 minutes on the clock, so snipe are definitely possible for both teams. And we see T2 Air also online. Going for T3 for Star Commander. Very interesting. So he possibly a secondary air player. And of course with Zwirerzak with double eco or 2 base eco, he's sitting at almost 300 mass income, scaling his air grid quite nicely. So he roughly should be in the lead, if not here shortly for the ASFs. No, he's definitely in the lead just looking at the ball of ASFs. So he has air advantage, at least a slight one. And he doesn't want to risk losing it. We do see advanced range has been started for Hannibal's commander, and missiles are inbound trying to just poke at that shield and try to kick Team 1 out of this position. Nice little offense just sitting in the water, having a fun time in the bottom of the little pond there, looking for treasure or whatever else he's trying to do. Maybe he's trying to magnet fish down there, who knows. We do see the bricks trying to force back the mainly Harbinger land army here for Hannibal. Fast moving units they can also reclaim. Makes them very, very useful, especially for this clump of reclaim right here. Being able to just say, okay, not kick everything, but scoop everything up and make more Harbingers out of it. We do see the T3 and T2 bombardments from Team 2 is enough to crack this very far forward position from Zwirerzak. And again, I do like the boldness, but unfortunately trying to resupply that base is very not fun. We do see a couple of Zubi coming in to try to just move and annoy those missile launchers, but it's just not going to be enough. In the east, attacks are imminent. It's about the same amount of bricks, but there's a lot more support army for Team 1. So if they did engage at range, Team 1 would win it, but they're not doing that. So they're just kind of getting pushed back. Zwirerzak back in the water. He's at 4-star vacancy. He's definitely been just ripping apart some units. And he's almost close to 5 stars. And that T2 quad mech position is now down. It was originally Team 2, so they'll probably be glad to have that back. It looks like the ecos are starting to slowly favor T2 as Team 2. As Team 2 goes for T3 mexes. We're seeing the... Oh, that looked like a T3 mex going for more of the traditional upgrade assist. Some players will do the Control K, reclaim, and then upgrade. It all comes down to how fast you can rebuild or build the T3 mex versus just upgrading it straight. I think it's 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I know there's some math that's been done at some point about what's more efficient. I think it's, like I said, I think it's 2 minutes or something. If you can build it about there, then it's worth it to reclaim it or Control K it, reclaim it, and build it versus just upgrading it. Because of course the mex does still produce mass as it's being upgraded versus the Control King and rebuilding. You miss out on, you know, the 9 mass per second as it takes to rebuild or build the T3 mex. I keep saying rebuild the T3 mex, but I guess it's pretty much the same thing. No AA says zoom, and that is a worrisome thing. If Team 2 sends some, you know, T3, T2 gunships, bombers, whatever they want, it really puts now this fire base not in a good position, especially with this being the Omni. He definitely does not want to lose it. Does have some sniper bots online and a couple of T2 artillery pieces. He's actually using the P-gens from the T3 sonar system, the radar system, as a way to increase the fire rate and cut down at least a little bit on the power consumption for those artillery. So I do love that, because, I mean, you're already going to build the P-gens. You might as well build artillery on top of it and call it a day. We do see the comm in the south is moving. It is Hannibal, and again, there are a lot of bricks here, so he could get swarmed pretty quickly. But he is taking out some T2 mexes, so that's 6 mass a second times 5. That's 30 mass per second that X is losing out on, and he's building a T3 engineering suite on board, has nano. And I think he'll probably stick with that for now. Especially with that Omni online, it makes cloaking anything in the Chevy Crimson range very much not possible. And he's pretty much right next to that, so pretty much not worth it for going for cloaking, at least for now. Maybe later, but not right now. You see in the east, Brick's just not really giving orders and just immediately wipe out that Brick from Zoom. They just get a little bit too close and just gets wiped out. Strap Bomber online for Star Commander, so it looks like he's going for more of the air-to-ground weapons, and his teammates going for more, of course, the air-to-air weapons. We did see a gunship or two running around as well for X, but we'll see if he ends up going mass production or not. Comm pops out of the water, and he is going for naval headquarters, at least for T2. The brick attack does not work. The Othams, nice little ambush move there, and Zwarzak is going to go for big boat, small pond. Love to see it. Gunships are inbound. They are the broadsword. They're going to move in. Oh, they're going to go after the Othams at least. Wipe those out. And ASF's moving in to shadow them as well. Team 1 has gained a little bit more ground on the southern side, and again, that's a 5-star mech position knocked out. Engineers reclaiming the mexes and then going to build the mexes on top of it to not only get the mass from the reclaim, but also get another additional 2 mass per second per mex. And again, scale that eco even better. For Hannibal, Star Commander finishes an experimental. He is cybering, so I would assume it's a monkey, but it is 28 minutes. You could have skipped monkey and gone straight to crab, but oh, and he did that. Never mind. So that is the downside, is you don't get that experimental online sooner, but in the case where you build the 110,000 megalith unit, kind of nice to skip it. It just depends on how much action is happening. If you need an experimental immediately, obviously monkey is the better bet, but if you can bide your time for a couple of minutes, it is worth it to go for that grab. You see gunships running amok over here on the west, so while Hannibal is crushing it on land, X is crushing it on air. And every time I say X, I'm thinking of the renamed Twitter platform called X. There is some AA nearby, and there's also some gunships just sitting here, but they were sitting there. Actually, would be a better way to put that. And it looks like the engineers have been denied. It looks like they targeted the T3 engineers first, ensuring that the engineers do not build any sort of AA. Nice micro there by X. We did see T3 SAM site has been built by Hannibal, but the gunships are now moving out of range of that. ASF's an inbound. They'll take out another T2 mechs, and that'll be probably the end of it. But they did a decent amount of work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 T2 mexes, and I think a T3 was mixed in there as well. So a decent amount of work. But now we see nice little formation movement here from Zwarzak. Decent amount of sniper bots. No shields, though. No T3 parashields. Very unfortunate. They're going to target the lightning tanks first. There's not that much flak in here, so that will mean the gunships will get a lot of value, and there's also bricks down here. So unfortunately for Team... Oh, there is a shield there, but a little too late. Probably... I was going to say probably focus on the sniper bots, but pretty much all of them are gone. ASFs move in, but they're a little bit too late, and then the ones from X are a little bit too late as well. Missiles are raining in on this position for X from the cruisers from Zwarzak. He's not going for missile on his own comm. I feel like it's not really worth it, especially if you have, half a dozen or so cruisers just sitting right on top of you. It's not really worth producing your own missile. We do see Crab in the east has shoved Zoom back considerably. That army has no way to defend against that Crab, and so it's just going to run amok over there. Omni's going to get taken out as well. Definitely unfortunate. Not the central one that Team 1's going to rely on heavily, but, there is one over there. Just as a nice little backup. We are seeing lots of bricks stacking up for Team 2, and there's not really a lot of Perseus, which is very unfortunate because he's the only one that has access to them. Of course, he's focused on UEF ASFs and whatnot, and gunships and not the land side of things. But those Perseus would definitely help out a lot in terms of keeping that army back. One tapping a lot of units is very nice. We do see lots and lots of gunships still running around, going after all the AA. Of course, they took out another facility. not allowing Team 1 to build a frontline factory to resupply a lot easier. We see the long conga line going on for him, and there's a lot of harbingers down here. I mean, he's sitting at 63 of them. There's a lot of forces to contend with. Of course, they can't see a lot of the forces from Team 2 due to the... There's deceivers in there? I would assume. Yep, there's a couple of deceivers in there, so they're masking the radar signatures, and they're outside of the Omni range, so not able to pierce the shield, not shield, but the stealth field. You have to get a spy plane or some vision over top of them to get a nice little target. And those missiles are just going to not stop raining in. The Zapper, I believe, has the best range on board, which means they can easily just play Missile Command all day, every day, and it's not a huge issue. Granted, you get a Volcano or two mixed in there, and good luck piercing that TMD array, as well as getting a Loyalist in there as well, redirecting some missiles is always nice. Granted, every cruiser, I believe, has TMD on board, so it's not pointless to have Loyalists in this scenario, but it is nice to just be able to not worry about a missile or two. Second crab online for Star. That's starting to be a little bit concerning for Team 1, especially as they're running around on this side of the map. Not really super contested. 33, almost 34 minutes on the clock. Team 1 at 3 players left. Team 2 has only lost 1 player in the game, and that's the only player dead so far. That's Colorex PL. So it is a 2v3 in favor of Team 1. Incomes do favor Team 1 still. I mean, we're looking at maybe Team 2 was leading for a tiny bit, but, you know, 5-star mech's position knocked out. Not really helping the math there. So Team 1 at 1.1 and Team 2 at almost 900, so about 250 or so for Team 1. But to be fair, there are a couple of, or speaking of the experimentals, talking about the chickens in the middle of the map as well. Well, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully everybody understood that. I try to say that very quickly, so that way we can get that little smidgen out of the way and get back to the most important thing, which is the action. Tons of Zuri raining in shot after shot after shot on that Megalith. And that chicken's going to give that Megalith a hug. And unfortunately for that Megalith, either it's going to die by Zui fire or it's going to die by chicken fire. Or actually ions, technically. It's not really a fire. But Con jumps inbound here for Team 1 moving in, or for Team 2. And now we have some ASFs pretty much going to get wiped out of the sky. There is that AA to contend with. Those ASFs do not want to get anywhere near them. Second chicken is down. Second Megalith is going to die. That Megalith is not moving. And that Ion Storm's going to activate and just lay into that crap. Not a great thing. We do see a couple of lightning tanks also in the mix. Those gunships are going to be shoot away as well. There goes the crab. So I'd say in terms of mass spent on experimentals, Team 1 has a better percentage in terms of, you know, what they killed versus what they lost. It's now a new crab online for Team 2, so that should help cement this section. But of course, there is a lot of cruisers in the mix. That'll rain in fire constantly. But attack in the west, it looks like there was an attack that kind of helped or tried to move into the north to assist, but gets wiped out by the mobile brick wall that it is, and I went down to -1. Did not mean to do that. And this quad mech position will be wiped out once again. Team 1 seems to be really fighting over that one. Lots and lots of bricks. It looks like they might just full send it. I don't know. It looks like they're just going to send it actually all the way over here, which will actually force some of the units to go around instead of going straight in, I believe. Maybe, maybe not. Looks like they're going to try to avoid the missile launchers from those cruisers. But again, the bricks could easily just walk into the water and use their torpedoes, so I don't know why they're not doing that. T2 gunships try to help out, but looks like the focus from X is just to eliminate all of the land forces and then just shore up defenses elsewhere. I do like that strategy because it's really hurting on forces. There is a Colossus, but even if it's finished, there's so many bricks. And it also gives the cruiser something to fire at kind of haphazardly and does give the crab a little bit more room to wiggle and try to reclaim this as fast as possible. Now we see the focus is now going down on those crabs being a single crab, but there is a monkey mixed in there as well. Chicken out of the water, not going to be a good thing, especially because A, it's pretty close to the crab, and B, now that the crab has stopped moving, those missiles are hurting for thousands and thousands and thousands of damage. And even Zwarzek could probably pop out and help out with the overcharging, but he's already at 5 stars, so he doesn't really need to worry about it. The bricks in the west. And now the gunships go assassinate Hambelo's comm. He can't get to the pond in time. There's now a nice little kill here for Team 2. Gets some revenge for their dead teammate of Colorex. The crab is down. The chicken did not die. But there is 2 Monkey Lords inbound, 1 from each remaining player on Team 2. And that Monkey Lord will die if it does not move. Oh, even if it does move, it might move in a not good direction with that Ion Storm activating. It might actually make it out of there. But this brick wall is inbound. Colossus is standing tall, but unfortunately, the hit points are just being ripped apart, just throwing them off the boat to lessen the weight or whatever. Because it's just really not having a good time with that hit point. And there goes. Does take out actually about a dozen or so bricks with that crash damage. Unfortunately, I don't think the chicken will kill off the bricks in time to save most of the base. It'll save some of it. But unfortunately, there's some T2 Nexes that are not T2 PD gens, unfortunately, that will not last much longer. And the T3 land headquarters. Looks like they were going to focus fire on the chicken and then go, we're going to take out the Nexes instead. And all of the focus from Zwarzak, well, not all of it, but a decent chunk of it will now go to dealing with the remaining bricks. And the T3 land headquarters is now knocked out. And if all of the Aeon engineers are wiped out for Team 1, that is a loss in Aeon tech. There is an engineer right there, and there is the T2 air headquarters is gone. So pretty much, yeah, that's one of the only remaining engineers. And I say that, and now it's gone. Not a good time to be an Aeon engineer in this game. Counterattack in the east, doing essentially the same kind of move that X ended up doing, but not having at least the same desired. It's somewhat of a similar effect, but not to the great degree, especially with their, being crabs and monkeys running around. It's not really helping that scenario. The bricks are dead, but look at the devastation. Not much remains. I don't know why I said remains. And now the southwestern side, essentially the entire southern side for Team 2 is now under its control. The cruiser spam is just getting out of hand. T3 Navy has now been started. Very interesting. Looks like he wants to pierce the TMD bubble or lines by going for more battleships. But we do see SMDs being loaded. Is that a nuke concern for Team 1 or for Team 2? No. Just want to make sure it's loaded. The laser has been started for Zoom. That speaks of some possible telesnipe possibilities. Again, it's not guaranteed, especially if he doesn't get a whole lot out of it. If he dies, that means it's only Zwarzak remaining. So he has to be very specific and very quick about getting in, doing the damage, and leaving. This definitely would be a benefit for Team 1 going after with the Telemazer. Granted, you would probably have to sit right about here. Yeah, you take a little bit of volatile damage from maybe a couple P-gens, but you might have enough time to get in, do some damage, take out the headquarters, and call it a day. Nano repair started on Star Commander's comm, and we do see another airfight in the north. Coincidentally, I don't know why it's up here, but maybe some gunships were coming in and having some fun times. But it looks like Team 1 has built up a decent stack of ASFs, but Team 2 will sit on top of the pile in terms of being the leader for air. Not enough to win it, but definitely a huge chunk of ASFs have been wiped out. Again, the AA definitely helps with that as they fly next to the cruisers. Not a good day to be an ASF next to that pond. Nope. 4 chickens stacking up for Zwarzak. That could be enough to pierce the front lines. Granted, though, a lot of them are TMD. Lots of bricks and a Monkey Lord retreating now to the eastern side. They see that chicken horde has been amassing. And if Team 1 were to send those in now, which it looks like there are, it does not put Team 2 in a good position. They're building a crab. They probably will finish one of the crabs off, but I don't think they'll finish all of them. There is a crab inbound for Star, but there is an attack on land to the north. A couple of monkeys and a crab walk into a bar. And once this army for Zoom is dead, everything else is just kind of undefended in that regard. Chickens will engage a ton of engineers scooping up reclaim, trying to just feed their families as the engineers for Team 1 doing the same. Still, not all the wrecks have been scooped up by either team so far. That Monkey Lord just going to get absolutely denied by those chickens. Just says nope and said goodbye. We're seeing some UEF engineers also try to assist, but it's going to be a little bit of time before that crab is done. Even if the crab does finish its 4 chickens to contend with. Sorry, maybe 3 chickens to contend with. But still, 2,000. Oh, it does get killed off there. But again, there's really not a lot of defenses for Team 2 in terms of personnel or units or structures or whatever. But the same thing in the north applies. It could be a race to the bottom of how fast can Team 1 wipe out Team 2 or Team 2 wipe out Team 1. Again, somewhat concerning thing, though, is just the nonsense that is this T3 naval headquarters in this position. Big boat, small pond situation. We see those crabs and the chickens having a nice little engagement, and then the low polygon explosions and whatnot happening just due because we're outside of range. But there have been a decent amount of bricks thrown together. Another chicken is dead. Another chicken's about to die, which means there's only 1 chicken remaining, so that outnumbering in terms of the experimentals and not really favoring Team 1 at this point. And Team 2 is now down to 1v1 in that regard. But again, there is the 2 monkeys and the crab to the north. And again, the bricks are fleeing, but it's giving a lot of territory to Team 2 to just kill off. Eco's still favoring Team 1, but this isn't really having a resolution to it, at least currently. Team 1 desperately needs to get a lot more things online, whether it's PD, artillery, or units, or all 3. We're seeing the chickens are stacking up to just the chicken is just waiting for the engineers to scoop up the reclaim. Just probably build more chickens out of it. There's 2 battleships. Again, the battleships for the Seraphim can load nukes, and it looks like that's what this one is doing. With this low orange bar on the bottom, just building. But unfortunately, Team 2 does have SMDs. That nuke will not be as effective. Granted, Star Commander, he does have one. Okay, just hidden away with those P-gens. It looks like the crabs are moving in. The extra range on board those things really proven well. And it looks like Zoom teleported in pretty much exactly where I thought he would. Takes out that, and he teleports out immediately. Doesn't take out the headquarters, so he doesn't deny air entirely for Team 2. But he does do a chunk of damage, and it cuts a lot of power out, which means not great. It's barely positive, but again, just barely is not super great when it comes to power. There goes the chicken. The chicken is dead. Actually, not even being shielded by those T3. Again, T3 parashields. I don't know what else name to call them. They have a name. I just can't pronounce it. A lot of the Seraphim names are hard to pronounce. So nuke online for Team 1. Just barely built here by Zwarzek. We'll need some time to load. The crab has been defeated. The crab over here taking out one of the battleships. Not taking out their headquarters, coincidentally enough. Looks like it's just trying to just skate on by. Don't know why. You could just go after it and knock out the headquarters. Yeah, the units would remain, but it'd be a little bit of time before Team 1 Zwarzek could build more units to replace them. Chicken is dead. And of course, the bricks are moving in to deny the reclaiming efforts. That's where a lot of the mass for Team 1 and Team 2 has been coming from. But in the north, it's not a good situation. 2 monkeys perfectly healthy, and the crab, same as that. 154,000 hit points. Will sit at 165,000 once it's done getting the 5 stars. It'll take more than 2 nukes, or at least regular nukes, for that crab to go down. And Zoom is defeated by those gunships from Team 2. Again, he just gave a little bit more time for Team 2 to build up a defensive position against the Telemazer, and that's what did him in. So it's now a 2v1 game. First time in the game that Team 2 is in the lead with comms left alive, but Zwarzek does gain control of everything else in the game, so he has all of the eco that Team 1 has under his belt, but he is suffering a decent amount, possibly a power issue. Yep, power issue not helping. And he is building a bomber, which could help out the defenses on this northern side. The chicken probably should just hug it out, but the 2 lasers on board those monkeys might just be a little bit too much for the chicken to defend by its lonesome. He can't dodge. You can dodge some of the shots from the crab, but it's a lot difficult to dodge. A lot more difficult to dodge than, let's say, the chicken's fire, at least in terms of the secondary and tertiary fire. But bomb inbound takes out, or at least tries to take out all of the AA. Will clip the monkey lord, so that bomber not doing super well, but if it takes out the remaining bouncers here to the north, that could be enough to keep the bomber online long term. But again, the ASFs are stacking up for Team 2, so they could just go after the bomber and call it a day there. It looks like, again, the big boat, small pond still working out a little bit for Team 1's Zwarzek, but again, it's just diminishing returns due to the lack of water. this is how far they can hit, so they can take out some of the TMD, but not all of it. And it's just a lot of investment into a small pond that doesn't get them a lot of value, and Team 2 can easily just go whoop or whoop and just ignore that anyway. So it's not as impactful. If it was maybe the size of where the the mountains are, kind of like this, it'd be way more important, but it's just not big enough, unfortunately. And another bomb lands to the north. The bomber almost wiped out by that bouncer engagement. There's a little bit of AA on board both the crab and the monkeys. The monkeys have better AA than the crab, but the crab has better torpedoes than the monkeys. You can see it's just slowly whittling away. ASF looks like they're trying to go after the bomber. It just will take a couple of shots from those ASF to kill it up. Another chicken inbound will kill off one of the monkeys. And there goes the bomber. Did not last much longer after that. ASS will re-engage. There is some AA underneath. Does take out a couple of Team 2 artillery pieces, but nothing too system critical. And Team 2 really wants to keep at least as many ASFs online as possible, just because their air grid is it's slowly rebuilding, but it's been hurt. It's not feeling good. And the crabs and monkeys are inbound. Monkey, crabs. One of the monkeys, of course, was taken out, but there's no defenses here. The air grid is just not going to have much health left in this game. And then in the middle, another crab and monkey moving into Hannibal's old base. It was cannibalized by Cybern and Sarah from Tech because the Aeons were pretty much wiped out. Not sure what you mean by that, says as why I was talking about something in chat about 15-minute games. We tried to end it at minute 15 like most players. I mean, if you can win at 15, I mean, a win's a win, but I mean, there is some argument to be made by X where he's like, well, it's nice to have a longer game. And then Zuar's like, we did get it, to be fair. It's like, yeah, we did. So, you know, it just depends on the game. It depends on who's in the roster for the game and whatnot. Most players would quit, in my opinion. Neither would I. I mean, and that is a good mentality to have, regardless if you're winning, you're losing, you think you're going to lose, you think you're going to win. Never quit, because if X quitted at one point when he was being bashed in on that western side, I think Team 2 would have lost. But currently, Team 1, besides the nuke, Team 2 is doing very, very well on land, air as well. The air grid is down. Zwire's main base is the only thing left standing. Looks like it is going for Star Commander's base, and unfortunately, it will be denied. Yeah, in this position, however, yeah, not doing super great. Fat Boy also coming in to assist as well. Looks like the units, pretty much most of them got wiped out by the chicken, but Fat Boy coming in is not going to help out. Counter nuke online for Team 2? Yeah, oh yeah, right there. Look at that. Wow, that's a lot of hives sitting next to a bunch of pigeons. And it's going for the base up here to the north. SMD is loaded. Could have targeted this, but you know, it looks like that's SMD's covering it. Kaboom! Which I do love to see, that SMD covering the big boat, small pond scenario. Fat Boy getting bullied by a couple of pieces of chicken. A couple of chickens, not people. Well, I guess pieces of chicken, whatever works. But the very, very long hook maneuver is now being completed by the crab and the monkeys. Wirzak has a couple of forces remaining. Is trying to spam load a chicken. Does have a nuke that he's trying to protect with all he can. I don't think he has much. Transport's being wiped out by the just roaming ASFs, trying to wipe out the remaining ASFs from Team 1. And at this point, Team 2 could just sit back, relax, build artillery if they really, really wanted to, but they might just end the game with the land units and call it a day. 50 plus minutes on the clock, and Zwarzek is the last remaining player. Looks like he's just going to walk out into his death. GG, says Zwarzek. He might just control K at this point. I mean, most people can see the writing on the wall. He has really nothing left. There he goes. And that is the game. Team 2 wins the game. MVP for me is X Control VN again, some name. I still can't pronounce it. Maybe somebody at some point will tell me how to pronounce it. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. He's the MVP for me in this game. He did very well. I mean, he hung in there. There was a possibility that he was going to lose just because he was being 2v1, especially on the western side, but he got front lines established, got some momentum going, got the air grid, especially having air under his control definitely gave him a lot more wiggle room. And then Star Commander doing very well at just being consistent and just pushing and holding back and pushing and pulling back and pushing back. and then eventually was able to just wipe out the entire northwestern side, and then it was just a, again, matter of time. Well, let me know down in the comments who you think deserves to win MVP for this game. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really, really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I will see all of you in the next one.